The Rockies were an absolute disaster last season with disappointing seasons from the young guys and one of the worst starting pitching staffs in all of history, and only won 43 games, which is by far the league worst. The Rockies have four pending free agents, and I have them letting all of them walk in free agency. For the starting pitching, the first spot will be going to Kyle Freeland, who is somehow the best starting pitcher for the Rockies, even though he had a near 5 ERA. Next up is Chase Dollander, who was Colorado's number one prospect last year, but has really struggled in the majors so far, posting a 6.5 ERA through 21 starts. The next spot will go to Ryan Feltner, who spent nearly all last season in the minors, but through 30 starts in 2024 posted a 1.4 WAR and 4.46 ERA, which isn't great, but definitely enough to crack the rotation. The fourth spot goes to McKay Brown, who came up towards the end of last season. While his stats through 7 starts look pretty horrid, he did completely skip AAA. In his second to last start, he only allowed 2 hits and 1 run through 5 innings with 10 strikeouts. And there's some pretty solid stuff with a curveball that opponents are only batting 188 against, and the slider with a whiff percentage of 36.5. And to finish out the rotation, I have the Rockies grabbing Tristan McKenzie. They don't have a high payroll, no pitcher wants to come to Colorado, so they'll have to settle for McKenzie, who was DFA'd by the Guardians last season. He was great in 2022, but has struggled with injuries and played some in the minor leagues where he had major walk problems. It's likely overform, but it's worth a shot in the rotation. Can't get much worse. For the bullpen, Colorado had some solid arms that solidified their spot for 2026, with Seth Halverson being in the closer role and another hard thrower, Victor Vodnik. Jimmy Herget, who was statistically the best reliever for Colorado, posted a 2.48 ERA. Juan Mejia, who pitched well, and his baseball savant page has a lot of red on it, and Jaden Hill, who had a 3.38 ERA through 28 games, which leaves 3 spots open in the pen. The first spot will come from within the organization, with it being number 18 prospect Wellington Herrera. Herrera hasn't even played AAA yet, but I think he'd be a good option because in AA he struck out 70 batters in only 46 innings. His fastball is pretty good and it rises on batters, which results in a lot of swing and miss. For the next 2 spots, we'll look to free agency signing Steven Matz and Joey Lucchesi. Here's the updated roster with the pitching. Moving on to the lineup, the Rockies are locked in at catcher with Hunter Goodman, who is quietly one of the best catchers in baseball last season, hitting 31 home runs with a 843 OPS. At shortstop, the Rockies recently extended Ezekiel Tovar, who didn't have a great 2025, pretty much being worse in every statistical category, but he did miss some time and is pretty young. He also won a Gold Glove in 2024 and is a good defender. The outfield is pretty much solidified with Jordan Beck in left, Brennan Doyle in center, and right field, Mickey Moniak. This leaves us with holes on the infield. There isn't a definite first baseman yet for Colorado, but all of them sticking with Warming Bernabeu at first. At second base, we'll look towards free agency and sign utility man Willie Castro. He's struggled since going over to the Cubs, but was pretty good on Minnesota and an all-star in 2024. He can also play pretty much anywhere, even though his defense is pretty horrid. For third base, I have them making a trade with St. Louis to acquire Nolan Gorman in exchange for number 13 prospect Carson Palmquist. Gorman was really good in 2023 for the Cardinals, but has really struggled the past 2 seasons, and it might be time they give up on him even though he's still 25. Palmquist saw some time in the majors in 2025, but looked pretty bad during it, posting a near 9 ERA. Rounding out the lineup at DH with Tyler Freeman, who had a solid offensive season but is a complete liability on defense, so he takes the DH role. Moving on to the bench, we're starting out with Drew Romo being the backup catcher, who only has 54 at-bats in the majors and is more of a defensive catcher. For the infield, we have Kyle Karros, who's great defensively, but not been very good offensively with a sub 600 OPS, but still needs more at bats in the majors. Last two spots we got outfielders, with the first one being number 11 prospect Zach Veen, and the other going to Sam Hilliard, who put up solid offensive numbers in 2024, but barely played in 2025. The goal for the Rockies next season is to let the young guys play and hope some of them develop into solid big leaguers, because they're a very young team and have some talent.